government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Welcome, my friends. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Another transmission against tyranny as we attempt to unlock the minds and awaken the people of the United States and the planet to the dark architects, the social engineers, the criminal technocrats that control the scientific dictatorship, the Pentagon design control grid that is rapidly expanding across the free world. 90+% of science research in the universities is now DARPA controlled. And it's all how to sterilize you. It's all how to poison you. It's all how to do it incrementally so you don't notice. And then through the American Medical Association, compartmentalize it so they don't even know what's happening, so that they misidentify symptoms at the ground level, where the doctors are little more than technicians that follow their handbooks and have no earthly conception of what's happening. This is the elite on just incredible power trips, playing God, with genetic engineering, weapons development, you name it. And so I got up this morning. Actually, I found it last night, but I got up this morning and did some more research on this subject. You know, I'm kind of like the crazy uncle you keep in the basement or the attic in talk radio and in the, quote, patriot movement. Oh, I'm that weirdo that 12 years ago read FEMA documents on air about the concentration camps. I'm that weirdo that went to urban warfare drills and videotaped the troops training to take our guns here in the U.S. People couldn't deal with it then. But now it's all public. And so we are seeing more and more reports, more and more discussions about it.
Don't worry, this show is documented. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, burns, burns.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
The ring of fire.
We've been talking about the end game, the plan to take your children from you, put you in camps, line you up, and shoot you. Now, they don't have to go with that plan because they're just incrementally taking everything over to begin with. I mean, we're in martial law when they get up on the news and say it's the law, you got to take vaccines when there is no law. You're under martial law when they're setting up random checkpoints on the highway or on buses and trains, but the border's wide open. We're in martial law when they selectively enforce DWI and insurance laws on citizens, but illegal aliens are above the law. They do what they want, when they want. It is a hopelessly corrupt and degenerate society. The government is just roach-eaten from end to end. Big global corporations are so corrupt they've endangered their own system by quadruple leveraging junk bonds, AAA rated. That's just pell-mell corruption, endless liquidity to buy everything up. Huge FEMA camps are built. They're poisoning the water, poisoning the food, carrying out eugenics against us. It's just light years ahead of what most people know. We got to have Peter Dale Scott back on. During the break, he said, "Oh, I'd love to come back on. This is the best interview I've ever been on. It's great to be on a show where somebody knows what they're talking about." So he doesn't even look at my stuff. I don't even hardly look at his stuff. We say the exact same thing because it's the document. Same thing with Daniel Estulin. Now, I do read quite a bit of his stuff. The point here is we're telling you the facts. And now the San Francisco Chronicle admits the government has set up martial law. They've claimed that Congress has no authority and doesn't even matter. And that private corporations nexusing in with the president run everything. Now, that's in your face martial law. And in the Northcom's own statements, which Peter Dale Scott read, these are public. Can you imagine what's secret? They said that bloggers' free speech is terrorism. They said it's a threat to the government. They must wage war on us. Our free speech is bad. In America, how far have you neocon followers slipped? Well, you hear Michael Savage and others get on there and say, criticizing the government is terrorism because the government's fighting terrorists. And if you do that, you're a terrorist. And then we have all these Republican memos where they come out and they say, Oh, we sure need another 9/11 attack. Oh, it'd be so good. State governors, state Republican Party chairs, top neocon writers. I mean, they write news articles saying 9/11 was sure good for the country. We sure needed that. It was good for you, you trash. And then Gary Hart writes a letter to Iran saying, we staged the USS Maine in Havana and the Gulf of Tonkin. For historians of American wars, the question is whether we provoked provocations or not. He goes on with just no veil to say, we stage events, Iran, you better do what we say. Don't just think because the polls show 80% are against the war that this isn't going to happen. We stage things. I mean, again, he knows that the general public doesn't read. He knows he can put that out in the newspaper. In a newspaper, just right out in the open. He helped write the whole Homeland Security architecture with the Hart-Rubin Commission for the Council on Foreign Relations, where they called for everything you see now, the total militarized takeover of America, the end of Posse Comitatus, and then they sit there without even a veil and just wallow in who they are. It's like Peter L. Scott said, the professor earlier, this is all right out in the open now. Daniel Estulin, it is always a great honor. His book now going into its fourth printing. It is sold out most places. We happen to have a couple hundred of them at Infowars.com. Hundreds of photos, hundreds of documents, an incredible read. Read a chapter or two a night. You'll be an expert on the New World Order. Just unparalleled research. It is the club. Bilderberg is the book, available at Infowars.com or better bookstores everywhere. And I forgot to ask you, are you in Spain right now, Daniel?
I'm in Spain. I'm in Madrid. I'll be coming to the United States in the next 3 weeks. I have about 2 weeks worth of tours across western United States. There's such tremendous demand, Alex, for all that information, yours and mine. Again, I'm going to shamelessly promote your book. People, if you don't have Alex's latest DVD, I don't know what you're waiting for. You better get it if you want to understand how things run. You know what you just said? What a perspective for the future. All the things you talked about, martial law, starvation, etc., deaths. But you know, one of the things I'll do when I'm in the States is we have a big show in Portland, and we just have to set them all straight and make sure people understand. We're going to connect the dots, something that you do on a daily basis, and needless to say, from Spain, and on behalf of humanity, very grateful for all your work, Alex.
No, Daniel, we're thankful to you. I mean, I know so many people in this movement who don't have their heads screwed on straight, or it's about competition, it's about grandstanding. But when I'm with you personally, you know, and the times we've had to hang out, I mean, you have this grave attitude, you're focused, you realize, and I want everybody else to have an attitude adjustment. You know, this isn't about who's got what bumper music on their show. This isn't about, you know, who did what. This isn't about who the biggest or the baddest is in fighting the New World Order. That's a dangerous position to be in. This is about survival. Daniel, I want to get into new developments you've learned about the Bilderberg agenda, new info you got out of some of the last conferences they've had, like Davos, where the agenda is going, where any fissures are at right now. The book, just, you know, bestseller globally, now a bestseller even through a small publisher. Here in the United States, can't keep it on the shelves. I want to go through all that, but right now, just for new listeners, we have new stations, like 4 or 5 in the last month that turned us on. Who are the global elite? What is their basic agenda? If they have their way, what will the planet look like?
Well, basically, you're looking again, one country, one world government, borderless, one currency, one constitution. Basically run by the same people, by the same men from behind the curtain. You're looking at a plan which has been in motion for the past 600 years or so. It's the wholesale destruction of nation states. Again, it goes back to the Council of Florence, when the idea was to create nation states, which is what the United States has always been, the greatest nation state on earth. And for the past 600 years, and especially again looking at Europe, we had countries, constitutions, flags, borders, armies. Now you have one country called Europe, one constitution called the European Constitution, which, by the way, takes precedence over national constitutions. You have one currency, one border, one law, and needless to say, what they're doing right now is, again, they're working on the North American Constitution, and I know this for a fact because my sources are telling me that the man behind the curtains, who's the consummate bureaucrat who's helping the North American CFR elites to put it together, is the former Secretary General of NATO, member of the Spanish Socialist Party, a man by the name of Javier Solana. So that's basically what Bilderberg is: one country, one world order. Needless to say, working for them at our expense. It's not about us, it's about them. It's about getting power into fewer and fewer hands. And you're looking again at giant cartels whose objective is the creation of global elites more powerful than any nation on the planet, which is why, again, they must destroy the greatest nation on the world, which is the United States.